Okay. Happy Thursday, and I hope everybody's in a good spot today. Getting ready for a great game. Should be, I think we're at 48,700 tickets or something like that. So we should have about 1,200 tickets left, 1,300 tickets left, averaging about 1,500 tickets a day being sold. So should be sold out by the end of today, if not tomorrow. And I'm excited about the opportunity to play in front of our second sold-out crowd of the year. Senior Day, honoring a lot of the seniors. Some will walk, some will walk and return, some will walk and graduate. Some have graduated and will re-walk. Some have walked and won't walk. Some haven't walked and won't walk. So don't ask me who's walking because I don't know. I know we have a lot of people that are and some that aren't, but we're working through that right now. But we're honoring all the seniors, anyone that's been here 4 years or more in our program, and also guys that have been in other programs that might be running out of eligibility. So we will certainly offer that opportunity to anybody in that situation. In regard to the game, we've got a champions coming in here, Pac-12 champions, 2 years in a row. So we know that is an awesome challenge to bring in the Pac-12 champions into our place and see how well we can play against them. It's certainly it's a championship opportunity. It's a championship game in so many different ways, and we've got to take advantage of this moment as a program. Sitting here at 7-3. Proud of where we are these last 10 games, proud of where we are these last 4 games, knowing that we have 2 more games to play at the absolute highest level prior to the postseason. We know the importance and significance of the following week, but all of our focus is on this championship game that we have on Saturday.
All right, we'll start with Jay and then Justin. Long question, Jay. Last year about this time, you talked about Utah being a program that you kind of aspire to, you would like your program to be. Okay, you're sitting here, you got the same record, you're ahead of them in the conference standings, you're ranked higher in the rankings, and you're favored to beat them. Where do you think you are on that track?
I think we're still a lot of years behind them in regards to the consistency of their program. They've been able to keep their defensive coordinator for 8 seasons in a row. They've been able to keep their offensive coordinator for 6 seasons in a row. Coach Whittingham is going into his 19th season. The formula for winning consistently has never changed in Salt Lake, from Urban Meyer to Kyle Whittingham. They've been able to consistently go out there every week and have a brand that everybody nationally recognizes at this point in time. We're at the very infant stages of that. We're very new in that world. We're trying to establish that brand. We're trying to establish a culture that can continue on throughout. They sell out every one of their games. They had one of the longest, if not the longest, home winning streak in college football. So that, to me, is what we aspire to do. We're proud of the fact that we're matching up head-to-head against a team that we have the utmost of respect for. But in the end, it's can you consistently do what they've done over the course of time.
Justin and then Jason. For the class, guys like Jordan Morgan and Michael Wiley, guys who have been here since the start, what have they meant to your program in the build-up?
Yeah, both of those guys, they were here before we arrived. They stayed committed, and then they stayed committed to our program after a year of 1-11. They didn't go try to transfer. After a year of 5-7, they didn't declare for the NFL draft. They both decided to return for their 5th years and wanting to really make an impact in the program and change the culture, and they did that. They are who our team look up to. The way they act, the way they handle themselves, their degrees that they have. The fact that they're not just here as an athlete, but as a student athlete, that they've managed to have over 3.0 GPAs, that they've managed to lead the team as a captain, that they do things right in the training room, off the field, on the field. Those guys have meant the world to this program, and I hope that they get rewarded for it. I'm sure that they will when it comes for the NFL draft this year. But what you're also going to see is you're going to see guys like that be able to be spokespeople for Arizona football in the years to come.
Guys like Seth McKellar, Nizar Bavada, guys who don't get talked about enough, but are going to be, walking on Saturday. What have they meant to your team?
There's everybody on our team, has to fulfill their 110th, right? They bring something to the program, and they wouldn't be here. Some of them are scholarship players, the 185ths of what they can bring. But what those guys do, those guys in particular have done a ton for this program, right? Naz Bambata blocked a punt against Utah a couple of years ago. He's been put on scholarship. Seth McKellar has been our long snapper and been a sense of calmness and a sense of really consistency every single day. The players look up to him. The players like him. The players respect the type of people these guys are. But everybody in our team is going to bring something to the table, or they wouldn't be on our team. And they all matter, and some of them get more accolades, some of them get more playing time, some of them get a little bit more ink, let's call it. But in the end, if we don't snap the ball in that final field goal appropriately and at the right spot, we wind up going to overtime last Saturday.
Jason and then Michael.
I know it's still a few weeks away, end of the season and then all that, but how prevalent or how much do you start talking about NIL? It seems like the hot theme throughout the country with coaches is like, look, if you guys want to win, this is what we need.
Yeah, I think it's clear that is where college football, college athletics, whatever you want to say, has gone in a lot of different ways. Football specifically, it's expensive to run a football program. It's certainly expensive when it comes down to, your player retention, player acquisition, how you're going to support your players through name, image, and likeness. And collectives are very involved in that. Multimedia brands are involved in that. And if you want to have a winning culture and a winning team, the supporters of University of Arizona have to step up in that regard. It is the only way right now to get it to where it has to go. We've seen other programs put in millions upon millions of dollars into their player payroll, however you want to look at it. And you could say some of them have benefited greatly. Some of them would say there's been some challenges with that. I think in the end, you have to find a nice balance, and you have to be able to recognize and reward players for what they have done. Certain players obviously are going to bring more to the table than others financially. And on the same token, donors are really the way most of these collectives are funded right now. And those donors could come from private entities, meaning their companies, their businesses, how can they help a kid succeed, or their personal investments into the collectives. But all of it is necessary to be able to sustain winning and win more in the future.
But where do you think Arizona ranks in the conference in terms of NIL, or just comparing yourselves to other teams in the conference?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't know the answer to that because it's the most clandestine operations of all time. Nobody has any idea what anybody's saying, doing, and a lot of times what you hear and what we read turns out to be false. A lot of times you hear about this kid got offered that, or this kid got that, or this player was compensated in this regard, and then you find out from somebody else, or somebody transfers into your program and tells you what was going on in the other program, and it's nothing like what you thought you knew or read or saw. So I believe that's why the NCAA right now is trying to find ways to make people at least kind of tell people what they got, right? Give their contracts to one central location, make sure it's more open to the public, make sure people have a better understanding. Because right now, you don't know if you're negotiating against yourself or you're negotiating against another team because there's no open forum and there's no way to really know.
Michael and then Brian.
Two questions, but first a clarification. Did you say that Naz Bambata is on scholarship?
Yeah, we put Naz on scholarship for this final semester.
The questions. The first one is field position is something that Utah seems to always be good at. There's a good punters. Whatever else goes into that. You had, I think, a -21 average starting field position deficit in last year's game. How do you influence that? How do you make sure that that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, last year I think what happened was we turned the ball over on the plus side of the 40 a couple times. First drive of the game, we hit a 50-yard pass, I think, to Mike Wiley, and then turned it over the next play on like the 30. So you wind up, giving them field position in good spots. Then I think we had a sack on the 28 or something like that turned the ball over. And so turnovers is big in field position. So that's the first thing. You can't turn it over. Secondly is I think there was a 4th and 20. We went for it, didn't get it. So now they got the ball on the 40. You've got to be able to control the game against a team like this. Over the course of years, they've controlled the game. They run the ball when they need to run the ball. They're not afraid to punch you back, play great defense, and then win the field position battle on the return. I think I saw Dion say something about that, where they punted on 4th and 1 on the 40. We got the ball on the -2. We punted it back to them. They got the ball on the 38. Well, when that happens, the field position battle goes is like a 60-something yard differential from a -2 to a +38. And that's kind of how those things really end up. You can't overcome that. So a good punt return, pin back deep, a turnover in the wrong area of the field is kind of what we can't have against a team like Utah to be able to win.
Last week when Jacob Howling got banged up, you put A.J. Jones in at his spot. It had been Kevin Green, I think, or maybe Malachi Riley. Why did A.J. get the knock?
Yeah, Kevin wasn't with us last week and in the game, so we brought A.J. In his position, and then this week will be Kevin. He wasn't available last week.
Leading up to the UCLA game, I believe it was, or Oregon State, that you didn't want to use, or you said you had no fear of bringing up bowl eligibility to the players, like that it wouldn't be a distraction. Is that the same with staying eligible for the Pac-12 title?
Yeah, we've been very clear about that. If you want to play in the Pac-12 championship game, you got to win on Saturday. Then you got to win again on Saturday, and then you need Oregon State to beat Oregon. And that's what has to happen. So we don't shy away from it. That's just the bottom line. And that's why we all work this hard. And, we talked a little bit about the difference between sacrifice and investment. And everything that we've asked our team to do is invest in themselves to be able to put ourselves in position to have that conversation. So once we got into the conversation, I didn't want to shy away from it.
Last question to David.
Two for you, Jedd. First of all, how would you best describe why the quick screen works so well in your offense?
Yeah, I think it's, something you commit to from the very beginning. You get what you emphasize. It's a way to be able to make teams defend 53 1/3 across the field, not just the vertical threats of the game. We're a team that takes shots down the field. So if you have to be concerned about the shots that you're taking down the field, then you also have to defend the horizontal passing game. It gives you an opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to hit on some of those. And then the more they want to, remove defensive ends or linebackers from the box and defend a quick screen, the more you can run the football.
And then the last one to Montana, there was talk on the broadcast that Noah had kind of went into that play. He audibled into that play, but it looked like he looked to the sideline. Did he audible himself, or did you give him that audible?
That's built into the play there, based upon what we got and the look we saw and what we wanted to get to. And I think he was looking over for confirmation.
All right, that's our time.
All right.